My beloved child, come close and listen to me, for I have watched the silent storms that have passed through your life. I have seen the moments that left you trembling inside, wondering how much more your heart could take. I know the quiet questions you carried, the ones no one else heard, the ones you whispered only in the stillness of night. And as my voice reaches you now, understand this: you did not arrive here by coincidence. This moment has been prepared for you long before you even pressed play. There was a time when the fire first touched your life. You felt the heat of situations that came without warning, without mercy, without pause. It seemed as though life had placed you in a furnace meant to consume every fragile part of your soul. You looked at what you were facing and thought, "This is too much. This is going to break me." You believed the weight would crush you, that the pain would overwhelm you, that the pressure would be the end of who you used to be. But, precious one, I need you to hear me with clarity. Even when you felt moments slipping through your fingers, I was holding you together. What the world called breaking, I called refining. What you thought was the end became the beginning of a transformation you could not yet see. I know it didn't feel like refinement. Refinement rarely feels gentle. It often comes wrapped in unexpected loss, betrayal, delays, disappointments, and confusion. It comes through doors that close without explanation and through people who leave without warning. It comes through nights when you cannot catch your breath and days that blur together beneath the weight of what you carry. But even in those moments, especially in those moments, my eyes never left you. You see, beloved, the fire you felt was not set to destroy you. It was allowed to shape you. And though you didn't understand it then, something deep within you was being strengthened. Parts of you that were dimmed by fear, doubt, or old wounds began to surface. What you thought was weakness was simply the heat revealing what I planted inside you long ago: resilience, courage, and the capacity to rise again. Think for a moment about the times you nearly gave up. The moments you whispered, "I can't take any more." You believed that was the moment you were breaking. But I tell you now, that was the moment when something inside you began to awaken. The moment your strength ended, mine began. The moment your hope faded, I breathed my light upon you. The moment you felt empty, I was filling you with something new. Yes, my child, I know how heavy it all was. I know the confusion, the fear, the uncertainty. I know how many times you wondered why life seemed to be testing you again and again. And I know you questioned whether there was any purpose in the pain you were living through. But there was. There always was. Every piece of your journey, the heartbreaks, the setbacks, the silent cries, the nights of questioning, was woven into a plan far greater than the pain itself. You were not being broken down. You were being prepared. Prepared to carry wisdom, strength, compassion, and authority that cannot be shaken. Prepared to walk into a future that requires a version of you that only fire could reveal. This message is meant to open your eyes to that truth. As you listen, your heart will begin to understand what your pain was trying to teach you. You will see why the fire touched you and why it did not consume you. You will begin to recognize the divine hand that carried you when you felt you had nothing left. You are here because the time has come for your story to be seen through clarity. You are here because what once felt like breaking was actually the shaping of something extraordinary within you. You are here because the fire was never your enemy. It was a tool I used to reveal the strength, beauty, and identity you didn't know you carried. And now, my beloved child, as this journey unfolds before you, you will begin to understand the truth that has been waiting for you all along. What was meant to break you refined you. My beloved child, let us walk deeper into the places of your heart, the places where the heaviest memories still linger. For I have seen the burdens you carried long before you knew how to name them. I watched you try to hold yourself together while feeling the weight of expectations, disappointments, and silent fears pressing down on you. And even when you told no one how close you were to collapsing beneath it all, I knew. I saw the moments when you looked strong on the outside but trembled within, afraid that one more setback, one more loss, one more blow would finally crush you. There were days when the pressure felt unfair, when every responsibility, every trial, every emotional wound layered itself atop the last. You felt like you were walking with stones tied to your soul, each one heavier than the one before. Perhaps it was the weight of a broken relationship. Perhaps it was the heaviness of financial fears, or the ache of feeling unappreciated, unseen, or forgotten. Perhaps it was the burden of trying to be strong for everyone else while no one seemed to notice your own silent exhaustion. My precious one, there were moments when you genuinely believed you were reaching your limit. You tried to smile, tried to push through, tried to adjust your shoulders beneath the weight. But inside you wondered, how much more can I take? How long can I keep walking like this? When will the weight finally break me? You were convinced that the pressure would be the thing that made you collapse. But hear me now. The weight that you thought would crush you was never meant to destroy you. It was shaping you. It was building a strength inside you that could not be developed any other way. It was teaching you endurance, unwavering resilience, and the ability to rise even when the world expected you to fall. You thought the heaviness was a sign of your weakness, but it was actually revealing your capacity for growth. You see, the weight pressed you, but it did not break you. It stretched you, but it did not damage you. It forced you to confront parts of yourself you did not know existed. Your courage, your perseverance, your ability to carry more than anyone ever believed you could. In the seasons when life felt impossible, you discovered truths about yourself that could only emerge through pressure. Think of how gold is purified. It is pressed, heated, and stretched beyond what seems bearable. Yet the result is something stronger, more brilliant, more valuable. You, my child, walked through that very process without even realizing it. The weight that felt unbearable was doing something remarkable within you. It was clearing away what did not belong. It was strengthening your roots. It was revealing the depth of your spirit. And though you felt overwhelmed, you never walked that journey alone. Every time you whispered to yourself, "I can't take this anymore," my strength lifted you. Every moment you thought you were at the edge of breaking, my grace held you together. You were being fortified, not crushed. You were being expanded, not defeated. And with every breath you took under the pressure, your spirit grew stronger. There were days when you lost things you thought you needed. People walked away, opportunities slipped through your fingers, plans crumbled before your eyes. And though it hurt deeply, none of it was a sign of failure or abandonment. It was all part of shaping you into someone who can carry far more than you could before. I removed what was too small for your future. I allowed certain doors to close because they could not support the weight of who you are becoming. Look at yourself now, my beloved. You may not feel it fully yet, but you have survived what would have crushed another. You have endured storms that were meant to tear you down. You have carried weights that would have broken a weaker foundation. You have stood in situations that tried to suffocate your hope, yet you are still here. Not broken, undefeated, still breathing, still rising. You are not the same person you were before the weight came. You are stronger, deeper, more grounded. You have learned to walk with a steadier heart. You have learned to pray differently, think differently, and see yourself differently. And though the weight was heavy, It created a strength within you that cannot be removed. So come closer, child of light. Let me show you what truly happened in the fire and under the pressure. Let me reveal why you survived what was supposed to destroy you. For your journey is not a story of crushing, but a story of refining. And we are only just beginning. My beloved child, as we journey deeper into this truth, I want you to pause for a moment and look back, not with fear, not with sorrow, but with the understanding that I was closer to you in your darkest moments than you ever realized. You walked through seasons that felt like fire, seasons where everything familiar seemed to melt away. You felt the heat of trials that pressed hard against your spirit, and you wondered, where is God in this? Why do I feel so alone in the middle of this fire? But precious one, listen closely. You were never alone. Not for a single second. When the flames rose around you, I did not stand watching from a distance. I stepped into the fire with you. I walked beside you through every tear, every fear, every moment where your strength faltered and your hope trembled. You felt the flames, but they did not consume you because my presence was your shield. There were moments when the fire felt unfair, when life seemed to burn through your plans, your expectations, your carefully built dreams. You tried to understand the reason behind the pain, and the silence felt heavy. But what you could not see then was that I was working within that fire, shaping something eternal inside you. You asked me to strengthen you, and strength was forged. You asked me to guide you, and guidance was given. You asked me to make you more like me, and the fire purified everything that was holding you back. My child, there were flames meant to break you, but they bowed in my presence. They could not touch the purpose I placed within you. They could not touch the destiny I carved for your life. They could not erase the identity I wrote into your being. And though you felt overwhelmed, I was standing beside you, absorbing the heat, carrying the weight, shielding your spirit from destruction. Do you remember the nights when you cried until your body felt empty? The nights when you whispered, "Lord, I can't do this anymore." You thought you were collapsing in the fire, but I was lifting you. Every tear you shed watered the ground of your next season. Every broken moment was a step toward becoming who you were always meant to be. The fire exposed what you no longer needed. It revealed what was unshakable inside you. And now, my beloved, hear me with your heart. The fire was never a punishment. It was preparation. It was pruning. It was the refining of your spirit, your identity, your faith. The very thing you feared would destroy you became the instrument through which I strengthened you. Stay close, precious one, for what I reveal next is the turning point of your story. And listen carefully, because this is important. You must stay with me to the very end of this message, for there are depths of truth and healing waiting ahead, truths that will shift the way you see everything you have survived. What comes later will piece together the questions you've carried for years. Do not let your heart turn away before you receive what I have prepared for you. And my child, if these words have stirred something inside you, if they have brought even a moment of clarity or peace, bless this message with a like so it can reach more souls who are walking through their own fire. Share it with 3 people who you know are struggling silently. Let this message become a light for them as it is becoming a light for you. And if you desire more messages where my heart speaks directly to yours, subscribe so you can walk with me through every step of your journey forward. My beloved child, you are not listening by accident. You are still standing because I stepped into the fire with you. You are still breathing because my hand held you. You are still rising because the flames that surrounded you were never stronger than my love for you. And as you continue with me, you will soon see the moment where your breaking point became your refining point. the moment you emerged from the fire carrying a strength you never knew you had. My beloved child, just as the fire did not consume you, neither will the calling I have placed within you be silenced. What I have refined in you is not meant to remain hidden. It is meant to become a light for others still walking through their flames. And now I speak to your spirit. This is your moment to sow into the fire that refines souls across the earth. As it is written, give, and it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And I declare this over you now, your obedience will overflow into abundance. When you release your seed through super thanks, through membership, or through the PayPal link placed in the description, you are not giving to man. You are sowing into my kingdom, into my harvest. Every offering becomes oil that keeps this light burning for those crying out in the dark. Every act of generosity becomes a river that carries my word to hearts on the edge of breaking. Do you feel that stirring within you? That is not emotion. It is my spirit inviting you into divine partnership. This is not a casual moment. This is a sacred exchange between heaven and your obedience. As you give, I will breathe upon your resources. I will guard what concerns you, and I will multiply what you release. I will cause provision to find you in unexpected ways, and peace to settle where fear once lived. Do not hesitate, for hesitation delays what I am ready to release through you. Act now, and become a vessel through which my refining fire reaches the world. My beloved child, let us return for a moment to the deepest place of your struggle, the moment you thought everything inside you was collapsing. You remember that season, the one where your strength felt stretched so thin that even breathing felt like a burden. That moment when you whispered, or perhaps only thought to yourself, "This is it. I can't do this anymore." You believed you had hit your breaking point. You believed you had reached the end of your capacity, the end of your endurance, the end of what your heart could possibly hold. But precious one, listen to me now with the fullness of your spirit. That moment you thought was your end was the moment a divine turning began. I saw you standing there, fragile, weary, trembling under the weight of everything that had pressed against you. You felt as if life had stripped away your certainty, your direction, and the sense of who you were. You felt raw, exposed, emptied out by circumstances that seemed far greater than your strength. And yet, even in that fragile state, I want you to know something important. Not a single piece of you was abandoned. You thought you were falling apart, but in truth, you were falling into alignment. You see, there comes a moment in every soul's journey where what once held them back must break away, not to harm them but to release them. A moment where what was built on fear, old wounds, or false expectations can no longer sustain who they are becoming. And when that moment arrives, it feels like breaking, but it is actually transformation. Think of clay in the potter's hands. When the clay resists shaping, it must be pressed, stretched, and sometimes allowed to collapse so it can be remolded into something stronger, something purposeful, something beautiful. That collapse is not destruction. It is the beginning of refinement. My child, when you reached your lowest point, I was not watching your collapse with indifference. I was guiding every shift. I was shaping you through every tear that fell. Each moment you felt undone, I was removing the pieces that did not belong to your destiny. I was clearing away the lies you believed about yourself, the limitations placed on you by others, the fears that kept you small, and the pain that clouded your vision. I heard your cries in the silence. I felt your heartache. I knew the battle that raged inside you, the war between your desire to rise and the exhaustion that pulled you down. You wondered why I allowed such a deep breaking, why I stayed silent when you reached for me with trembling hands. But my silence was not absence. It was the sacred stillness of a moment where I was doing my most intimate work within you. Beloved, do you know why a seed breaks before it grows? Because the shell that once protected it becomes too small for the life inside. What looks like breaking is actually expansion. What looks like the end is the beginning of something new. You, my precious child, were outgrowing the life you once settled for. You were being prepared for a greater measure of strength, purpose, and clarity. You saw the breaking as a sign that you were weak. But I saw it as the moment your true strength could finally emerge. Sometimes your soul must be emptied before it can be filled with the truth of who you really are. Sometimes your heart must crack open so the light inside you can shine where darkness once hid. Your breaking point was not a failure. It was the doorway into a new version of you. The version that walks with deeper wisdom, clearer vision, and a resilience forged by fire. The version of you that no longer bends beneath the weight of old wounds. The version of you that knows how to stand, even when the wind howls and the night feels long. The version of you that trusts me not because everything is easy, but because you have seen that I can carry you through what felt impossible. My beloved child, you may not have realized it then, but your breaking point was your turning point. That was the moment your spirit began to rise, even if your emotions had not caught up yet. That was the moment new strength formed in the places where you once felt shattered. It was a moment your identity began to shift from wounded to warrior, from fearful to faithful, from uncertain to unshakable. And as you continue this journey with me, you will see just how much beauty was born from the ashes you once wept over. You will see how the breaking delivered you into the refinement that is shaping your destiny even now. My beloved child, there is a part of your story that has always weighed heavily on your heart. The seasons when nothing made sense, when your prayers seemed unanswered, when you looked around and saw no sign of movement, no hint of change, no indication that I was working on your behalf. Those were the moments when you felt most alone. Those were the moments when you questioned whether I heard you, whether I cared, whether I was doing anything at all behind the scenes of your life. You tried to trust me, but the silence felt endless. You tried to hold on to hope, but every delay chipped away at your strength. As days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, you wondered if the pain you carried was simply your new normal. You wondered if the dreams you once held so close had quietly faded into impossibility. You wondered if you were forgotten. But precious one, listen carefully to the truth you did not know then. In the seasons when you saw nothing, I was doing more than you could ever imagine. There are moments in the life of every soul where I must work beneath the surface, where the shaping happens in places your eyes cannot see. Just as a seed rests in the darkness of the soil long before it breaks through the ground, your transformation was happening in hidden spaces. You mistook my silence for inaction, but my silence was often the sound of construction, the rebuilding, the rearranging, the healing you did not yet recognize. When you cried and felt no comfort, I was collecting every tear. When you prayed and felt no answer, I was aligning every step. When you waited and felt forgotten, I was preparing what you were not ready to carry. You only saw the delay, but I saw the protection. You only saw the stillness, but I saw the foundation being strengthened. You only saw the emptiness, but I saw the clearing away of what could not remain for the future I designed for you. My beloved child, there were prayers you prayed that I answered in ways you did not understand. There were doors you wanted open that I closed because they would have harmed you. There were relationships you begged me to save that I allowed to end because they would have taken you off your path. There were situations you longed for that were far too small for the destiny I created for you. You thought I was withholding, but I was protecting. You thought I was delaying, but I was preparing. You thought nothing was happening, But I was working in every moment, even when you could not feel it. You remember the times when you felt stuck, when life seemed to be moving for everyone except you. You compared your journey to others and concluded that you were behind, overlooked, or somehow less favored. You saw others celebrating while you were fighting to keep your hope alive. And deep inside you wondered, why not me? Why is it taking so long? Why do I feel like nothing is moving forward? Oh, my precious one, if you could have seen what I was arranging behind the scenes, your heart would have rested. I was orchestrating details far beyond your understanding. I was aligning opportunities, shifting circumstances, softening hearts, closing harmful paths, and opening doors in the spirit long before they opened in the natural. I was healing wounds you didn't know were still open. I was strengthening muscles you didn't know you needed for the next season. I was refining your character, expanding your endurance, deepening your wisdom, and shaping your identity so you could step into your purpose without breaking. What you called waiting was actually preparation. What you called silence was actually strategy. What you called abandonment was actually protection. You were being refined in places that no one could see, not even you. I was crafting patience within you, teaching you to trust me beyond your understanding, and training your heart to hold on to faith even when evidence was nowhere to be found. I was teaching you to walk by a deeper knowing, not by sight. And though the process felt painful, it was creating a strength and maturity in you that nothing else could form. My beloved child, you must understand this. Faith grows strongest in the unseen. Trust grows deepest in the silence. Purpose grows brightest in the waiting. And destiny unfolds most beautifully when you surrender what you cannot control. The work I did in the hidden places of your life was not wasted. It was essential. It was sacred. It was the foundation that will support everything you are walking toward now. And though you could not see it at the time, every moment of unseen shaping was bringing you closer to becoming the refined, radiant, unshakable soul I always destined you to be. You were never forgotten. You were being formed. My beloved child, come closer now, for we are stepping into one of the most sacred truths of your journey. What you endured did more than test your heart. It reshaped the very foundation of who you believe yourself to be. The fire you walked through was not only transforming your circumstances, it was transforming you. You may not have recognized it at the time, but the pressure, the waiting, the trials, the losses, and the moments of deep uncertainty were rewriting your identity in ways that would one day astonish even you. There were seasons when you defined yourself by your wounds. You looked at your reflection and saw someone who was tired, broken, or not enough. You carried labels placed upon you by others, labels formed from their opinions, their expectations, their misunderstandings, or their inability to see your worth. You also held on to labels shaped by your past, rejected, abandoned, overlooked, unwanted, unworthy. Those words rooted themselves in your heart long before you realized how deeply they were affecting your identity. But my precious one, hear me clearly. None of those labels belong to you. They were never the names I gave you. They were never the truth of who you are. Through the fire, I began to peel away those lies. Through the pressure, I began to break the false identities that tried to cling to your spirit. Through the refining, I began to reveal the strength, beauty, and truth hidden beneath everything life tried to bury. The fire came not only to purify what surrounded you, but to purify what lived within you. There were moments when you thought you were losing yourself, but in reality, you were losing the version of yourself that was built on fear and survival. You were shedding the identity formed from old wounds. You were releasing the fragments of yourself that were shaped by pain. You were stepping out of who life told you to be and stepping into who I always created you to be. My child, do you know what refining really means? It means removing everything that is not authentic. It means revealing what is pure, strong, and true. The fire did not change your identity. It uncovered it. You began to discover courage you never knew you carried. You started to see glimpses of a strength that remained steady even when everything around you shook. You noticed a resilience rising in your spirit that surprised even you. And slowly, the lies that once felt so heavy began to lose their power. Piece by piece, you were being rewritten, not by the world, not by your wounds, but by my love. This is why, beloved child, you must stay with me through the rest of this message. What I will reveal to you ahead will show you exactly what this new identity means for your purpose, your relationships, your future, and the anointing I've placed over your life. Do not turn away, for the next moments carry a clarity that will bring everything together. What comes next is meant to free you from the last traces of who you no longer are. But before we continue, if this message is touching places in your heart you thought no one understood, if it is giving voice to feelings you could never express aloud, bless this message with a like so it can reach other souls who are silently fighting the same battles. Share it with 3 lives who need to hear that their identity is not defined by their wounds. And if you desire to walk with me through more messages like this, messages that speak life, healing, and purpose, subscribe so my words can continue strengthening you in every season ahead. My beloved, you must understand something. Identity is not built in comfort. Identity is forged in fire. And though the flames felt fierce, what emerged was a version of you that carries wisdom, depth, compassion, and authority that cannot be taken from you. You no longer rise from a place of insecurity. You rise from truth. You no longer fight from emptiness. You fight from strength. You no longer seek acceptance. You walk in identity. The fire rewrote you, not into someone smaller, but into someone stronger. Not into someone fearful, but someone unshakably grounded. Not into someone wounded, but someone wise. You have become someone who can stand where others fall. Someone who can endure what once terrified you. Someone who can speak with clarity where confusion once dominated. Someone who carries peace even when the storm was not yet cleared. Someone who has learned to trust me even when nothing is certain. This is the power of refinement. It awakens the divine identity that was always within you. And now that you have walked through the fire, you will never see yourself the same way again. My beloved child, the fire did not rewrite you into something lesser. It revealed who you truly are. And what you are becoming is far more powerful than anything you ever imagined. My beloved child, now that we have walked through the refining of your identity, let us turn our eyes to something just as extraordinary. Something that has been quietly growing within you long before you even realized it. There is a strength inside you, a depth, a resilience, a quiet power that was formed not in moments of ease, but in the very moments you thought were breaking you. You carry a strength that was awakened by your tears, sculpted by your trials, and ignited by every challenge you endured. Do you remember the times you said, "I can't do this," and yet somehow you kept moving? The days you felt drained down to your last ounce of hope, but still found yourself trying again the next morning. The moments you believed you had reached the edge of what your heart could hold, but you kept breathing, kept standing, kept fighting through the heaviness. Those moments were not accidents. They were revelations. You thought you were surviving by accident, but you were rising by design. Child of light, your strength has been quietly announcing itself in every step you took through adversity. When you thought you were barely hanging on, I saw you learning to endure. When you thought you were losing your grip, I saw your spirit expanding. When you thought you were shrinking under pressure, I saw courage forming out of the ashes of your fear. There is a strength within you that even you have not fully discovered. It is the strength that allowed you to say yes to healing, even when healing felt uncomfortable. It is the strength that allowed you to let go of people who were not meant to walk with you into your next season. It is the strength that helped you face truth rather than hide from it. It is the strength that whispered to you, "Rise again," even on days when rising felt impossible. This is not the kind of strength the world praises, the loud, forceful, boastful kind. No, my precious child, your strength is quieter, is deeper. It is sacred. It is found in the way your heart refuses to fully close, even after being wounded. It is found in your ability to love again, trust again, hope again, believe again. It is found in your decision to keep walking even though the road has not always been kind to you. Your strength is the kind that is born from endurance, the kind forged in fire, the kind that doth not tremble when the winds of life change direction. And yes, there were days when you felt weak. There were days when you doubted your progress. But weakness is not the lack of strength. Weakness is the doorway through which strength enters. Think of all the times you rose when no one knew how hard it was. The times you held on to faith when the evidence gave you no reason to. The times you forgave when anger felt easier. The times you chose compassion over bitterness. The times you chose to keep moving forward instead of giving up. Each of those moments revealed who you truly are. They showed that your soul is not fragile. It is fortified. And do you know why this strength has been growing in you? Because I placed it there. Before you faced a single battle, I planted within you a well of resilience that would sustain you in your darkest hours. I built your spirit with the capacity to rise again and again, no matter how many times life tried to push you down. You were never created to break, you were created to overcome. Beloved child, I want you to understand something deeply. The strength you carry is not defined by how loudly you stand, but by how faithfully you endure. It is not defined by how fearless you appear, but by the courage you show even when fear is present. It is not defined by how perfect you seem, but by the grace you extend to yourself as you grow. You carry a strength that others can feel even if they do not know its story. A strength that will speak for you in rooms where your voice trembles. A strength that will guide you into places you once doubted you could enter. A strength that will become a light to those who feel like they have none left. A strength that will not only sustain you, it will inspire others. My beloved, the fire refined you, yes, and now your strength is the evidence. Not the loud kind, not the forceful kind, but the enduring, quiet, unstoppable strength that grows in the soul of someone who has walked through the flames and discovered they are still standing. You are stronger than you know, and the world is about to see it. My beloved child, as we continue this journey together, I want you to look back once more, not to reopen wounds, but to witness something miraculous. Think of the moments when darkness tried to swallow your hope, when the enemy whispered lies into the vulnerable places of your heart. Moments when circumstances seemed arranged against you, when people turned against you, when fear rose like a storm determined to drown your spirit. You wondered why so many things seemed to work against you. You wondered why battles came from unexpected directions, why certain losses cut so deeply, why it felt like you were targeted by forces you could not name. But here is a truth that will shift everything inside you. Every scheme meant to harm you became raw material in my hands, material I turned into strength, wisdom, elevation, and glory. The enemy had plans for your downfall, plans to break your spirit, to crush your confidence, to silence your voice, to derail your purpose. He hoped that heartbreak would make you believe you were unlovable. He hoped that rejection would convince you you were unwanted. He hoped that betrayal would plant bitterness in your heart. He hoped that the storms you walked through would drown your faith. He hoped that isolation would lead you into despair. Each attack was crafted with the intention of weakening you. But my beloved, every time an attack came toward you, I intercepted it. Not by preventing every blow, though I shielded you from more than you know, but by transforming what reached you into something that could not destroy you. You see, the enemy's goal was your collapse, but I used every strike to make you rise higher. The moments when the enemy tried to break you became the very moments that refined you. The enemy underestimated what I placed inside you. He did not understand the resilience of a child held in my hands. He did not understand that the fire surrounding you was not fueled by destruction, but by destiny. When people walked away, he thought you would crumble. But I used their leaving to clear space for better alignment, better relationships, and better growth. When you were rejected from certain opportunities, he delighted in your disappointment. But I used those closed doors to direct you towards something greater than what you were reaching for. When you were betrayed, he expected bitterness to take root. But I turned your pain into wisdom, discernment, and spiritual maturity. When emotional storms hit, he expected you to lose your footing. But I taught you how to walk on ground that once made you stumble. My precious child, the enemy tried to use your past against you, your old wounds, your insecurities, your vulnerabilities. But every one of those areas became a point of transformation. What was used to weaken you became the exact place where I poured strength into your spirit. Every scar became a testimony. Every setback became a setup for something greater. Every loss opened room for my restoration. You thought the enemy was winning in certain seasons, but you could not see how much he was actually losing. The more he tried to oppress you, the more my presence surrounded you. The more he tried to tempt you, the more your spirit grew alert and discerning. The more he tried to weary you, the deeper your endurance became. Every attack he launched only pushed you further into your purpose. And now, as you stand here listening to my voice, you are not the fragile soul he once targeted. You have become a force that intimidates the darkness. You have grown into someone whose prayers shake foundations. You have become someone whose faith withstands storms. Your spirit carries authority because it carries the lessons, battles, and victories that the enemy hoped you would never survive. Oh, my child, if you only knew how many times I turned the enemy's weapons into tools for your growth. How many times I took the blows meant to damage you and used them to strengthen your foundation. How many times I took the enemy's agenda and wove it into my plan for your glory. What the enemy meant to break you became the very instrument I used to refine you. What he meant to silence you became what gave you a voice. What he meant to steal became the ground on which I built your resilience. What he meant for harm, I turned for glory. And now, beloved, you stand carrying not the weight of your wounds, but the radiance of someone who has overcome. You are no longer walking in the shadows of who you used to be. You are walking in the light of who you have become. Everything meant to defeat you has become a testament of my power working in your life. Everything meant to harm you has become evidence of my protection. Everything meant to break you has become the refining fire that forged your destiny. My beloved child, as we draw nearer to the end of this journey, I want you to pause and truly look at yourself. Not the version of you shaped by old fears, not the version wounded by your past, not the version overwhelmed by life's storms, but the version standing here now. The version that has walked through fire and come out transformed. The version of you that carries a strength, a clarity, a depth that could only have been born through the refining you endured. You are not who you were before the fire touched your life. You may not even realize the magnitude of your transformation, but I have watched it unfold with a father's pride. The person you were before carried weight without understanding your own strength. You fought battles without knowing the authority I placed inside you. You saw yourself through the lens of old pain, old labels, old expectations. But the fire changed you. The fire revealed you. Look at your heart now. It is softer in the right places and stronger in others. You feel more deeply, but you also discern more clearly. You love with wisdom, not desperation. You give with intention, not fear. You walk with a steadiness that was not present before. Your spirit carries the calm of someone who has survived storms and knows they no longer have the power to destroy you. The old version of you lived tied to the opinions of others, carrying their judgments like chains. But now, your value is rooted in truth, not approval. The old you felt responsible for holding everything and everyone together, even when your soul was exhausted. But now, you understand that your worth is not measured by how much you carry, but by who you are in me. Precious one, the fire did not harden you. It purified you. It removed the voices that once controlled you. It burned away the fears that once limited you. It exposed the strength that was always within you but hidden beneath layers of doubt, insecurity, and old wounds. You are no longer fragmented. You are no longer living in survival mode. You are rising in purpose, in clarity, in identity. There were seasons when you questioned whether you were growing at all. You felt stuck, lost, or even broken. But what you saw as stagnation was actually deep rooting. What you saw as emptiness was preparation. What you saw as loss was pruning. And now, you are emerging with a spirit capable of holding more than ever before. Look at how differently you respond to life now. What once triggered fear now awakens wisdom. What once overwhelmed you now meets a heart anchored in truth. What once brought you to your knees now reminds you of your strength. You have gained a maturity that cannot be taken from you, because it was forged in fire, not granted through ease. You no longer walk blindly into relationships that drain you. You no longer cling to things that were never meant for you. You no longer silence yourself to keep peace that was never yours to maintain. You know who you are now. You know what you deserve. You know what aligns with your spirit and what does not. And this clarity is not accidental. It is the fruit of refinement. My beloved child, I am proud of who you have become. You rose from heartbreak carrying wisdom. You rose from disappointment carrying endurance. You rose from betrayal carrying discernment. You rose from isolation carrying depth. You rose from fear carrying courage. You rose from loss carrying compassion. You rose from every breaking with something more powerful than before. The fire changed your posture, and changed your insight, and changed your strength. But most of all, it changed your identity from someone shaped by pain into someone shaped by purpose. You are not fragile anymore. You are fortified. You are not lost anymore. You are led. You are not drowning anymore. You are walking on waters that once terrified you. You are not hidden anymore. You are rising into visibility, into purpose, into the fullness of who I created you to be. And now, as you prepare for what comes next, remember this: the fire was not the end of your story. It was the doorway into the truest, strongest, most radiant version of you. The version that is ready for the future I have prepared. The version ready to step into destiny with confidence, courage, and clarity. You are not who you were before the fire. You are who you were meant to become through it. My beloved child, Now we have come to this final moment of our journey together, and I want you to breathe deeply, for everything we have walked through has been leading you here. You have traveled back through the memories of your pain, through the weight of your struggles, through the fire that once felt unbearable. You have seen the turning points, the refining, the hidden work, the identity shift, the strength you didn't know you carried, and the victories that rose from what the enemy meant for harm. And now, as my voice settles gently over your spirit, I want to speak to the version of you that is emerging, refined, awakened, and unshakable. Look at how far you have come, precious one. Think of the days when you weren't sure you would survive, when the world felt too heavy, when your heart was tired of trying, when your hope flickered like a small flame fighting strong winds. Think of the moments when you doubted me, doubted yourself, doubted the purpose of your pain. And now look at you, still standing, still breathing, still rising. Not because life had been easy, but because I have been faithful. Not because you never stumbled, but because I never let you fall beyond my reach. You have walked through fire and come out carrying a strength that shines from within. And now, my beloved, it is time for you to walk forward, not as someone wounded by the past, but as someone refined by it. You are no longer the fragile soul you once feared you were. The fire has forged you into someone capable, someone courageous, someone spiritually grounded. The storms you survived have shaped your vision. The losses you endured have deepened your wisdom. The seasons of waiting have stretched your capacity for faith. The breaking points became the very places where my glory rested upon you. You are ready now, more ready than you realize, to step into the future I have prepared for you. But hear me, child of my heart. You must not walk forward as though you are still chained to what once hurt you. You must walk forward with the awareness that you have been transformed. Do not shrink back into old fears. Do not question the strength that has already been revealed within you. Do not let old wounds speak louder than the healing I have brought to your spirit. You are stepping into a new season, and in the season, you do not walk as someone recovering. You walk as someone refined. Walk forward with confidence, knowing that I am with you. Walk forward with peace, knowing that what once wounded you cannot touch you the same way again. Walk forward with courage, knowing that every battle you face prepared you for where I am leading you next. Walk forward with hope, knowing that I have already gone before you. Walk forward with faith, knowing that what awaits you is not destruction, but destiny. My beloved, I am not asking you to forget your past. I am asking you to see it differently, to understand that every tear you shed watered the soil of your future, that every loss created space for something greater, that every setback was a setup for divine alignment, that every painful moment carried seeds of strength, wisdom, and revelation. Your past was not wasted. It was woven into the fabric of who you now are. And now, as this message reaches its close, I place my hand over your heart. I bless your journey. I bless the path ahead of you. I bless the dreams within you that are awakening again. I bless the healing that is still unfolding. I bless the strength that is still growing. I bless the purpose that is rising in your spirit. I bless the peace that is beginning to settle into the places where fear once lived. Walk forward, refined and unshakable. Walk forward, knowing you are held. Walk forward, knowing you are guided. Walk forward, knowing that nothing has the power to break what I have strengthened. The fire did its work. The refining is complete. And now your story is shifting into glory, into purpose, into promise. You are my beloved child, and I am with you, yesterday, today, and every tomorrow you will ever step into. Amen. My beloved child, now that you have emerged from the fire refined and unshakable, I call you into something greater, into the work of igniting others. What I have completed in you is not the end. It is the beginning of a harvest that must reach far beyond you. I am speaking to your heart even now. This is your appointed moment to sow into the lives of others who are standing in the flames you have overcome. For I have said, those who sow in tears shall reap in joy, and I declare that your giving will unlock a harvest that speaks beyond your lifetime. When you offer through Super Thanks, step into membership, or give through the PayPal link in the description, you are placing seed into fertile, eternal ground. Your generosity becomes light in someone's darkness, breath in someone's despair, strength in someone's breaking moment. This is how my kingdom moves, through willing hearts who understand that what they carry is meant to be shared. Do not see this as a transaction. See it as a divine alignment, a moment where heaven touches earth through your obedience. I will bless what you release. I will increase what you entrust to me, and I will cover you with favor that cannot be explained. Your past was woven for this very purpose, to make you a carrier of my glory and provision. Step boldly into this calling, without fear, without delay. Give now, and let your seed become a voice that reaches the nations.